You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. It is Friday. I'm looking forward to our Friday review. So much going on over the past week, and can't wait to share all of that with you. I have some pretty incredible, or I should say incredulous, research coming up on one of the most popular, unfortunately, popular pharmaceuticals out there right now, and how it's being linked and has been proven to cause stomach cancer, fatal heart disease, and kidney disease. Not good for all of the people that have been on this for more than the 2 weeks that is specified on the packaging. I also want to share with you an amazing lab statistic and number that not enough people run. And it looks at the level of inflammation that can affect the arteries, that can affect the brain, strokes, cardiovascular disease, etc., and just overall inflammation, joint pain, fatigue, brain fog, headaches, etc. So I'll share with you on today's show, and then also little story. Hopefully it has a happy ending, but just about a tick bite and actually spider bite that I got all in one weekend 2 weeks ago, and I just want to share that with you just to try to help prevent that if you are going out and you'll be in some wooded areas, or just, again, I wasn't even in that wooded areas, and how that happened. So I'll share that with you on today's show. But before we get into all of the product reviews for the tick repellent, mosquito repellent, natural, of course, and the research that I want to share with you, and as well as the lab results, let's get into what's going on right now with the practice. So one of the exciting things that happens every 4 weeks to sometimes 8 weeks is we reopen the Integrative Health Practitioner course and certification. And I always get a lot of direct messages and questions saying, is this right for me? I don't have any experience. I'd like to learn more about health. That's exactly who it's for. And so I just want to answer that question, is that my goal is to reach as many people as possible. If I was only focused on helping doctors and nurses and people in the medical profession, I wouldn't be able to reach as many people. However, we have a lot of nurse practitioners and doctors, and we have acupuncturists, and we have chiropractors, and then we also have personal trainers and yoga instructors and everyone in the health and fitness field, which is amazing because then they get to help a lot of other people in their practice. So it's a great add-on for all of those professions. However, at least 50% of the people aren't in the health industry. And that's why this is knowledge that I want you to accumulate, learn, grow with, and as we say, heal yourself and then be able to heal others. Even if you only use it for your family, children, maybe friends, parents, like that's okay. Because you teach it to them, they will one day most likely teach it to at least one other person. It's the only way that natural health grows. It really is. Because the media, the American Medicine Society, everyone does their hardest to try to quiet all of this information because the agenda is to promote the pharmaceuticals. Remember, this is not a non-profit agency in the United States and all around the world. If you have a Western-based medicine format, it is to promote the pharmaceutical industry, which is about 1/3 of the gross domestic profit in the United States. I mean, we're talking about $1 trillion industry, right? We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in all of these top pharmaceuticals. I'm pretty sure if that's your business and that's what you get paid to do, you don't really want people to be well or get well, right? It's bad business. Well, we can help people rebalance their body and live the life that they deserve to live. And the problem is most people just don't know what this is. They don't even know how to do it. And that's why they're taking these drugs, not because, they want the easy way out necessarily, because they didn't even know that there was another way out. So that's what we try to do in the Integrative Health Practitioner Program. It's my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, and it's now taught as a course for those that just want to learn more about it. And then there's a certification that if you're already in the health and fitness profession, or if you want to get into it, we can teach you how to become a certified health coach. And when you pass level 1, you're level 1 certified, and you can begin working with people as a certified health coach. And you can actually get certified as a board-certified holistic practitioner. I mean, it's pretty fantastic. And again, we've only been open. The doors have only been open for about 8 months now. So we are excited to see how this continues to grow. And it's been absolutely fantastic. So, all right, more information on that at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. Feel free to send in your questions at support@integrativehealthpractitioner.org. We are happy to help. I mean, this is what's been asked, saying like, how do I get certified? How do I learn what you know? This is it. This is me teaching exactly how I practice. A lot of people say like, well, I want to learn how you practice. This is exactly how I practice. Not a little bit. I give you all of the handouts from my private practice, and you get those right in level 1. And in level 2, we teach you how to read labs, not diagnosing people, not diagnosing disease, not treating disease, not curing disease. We teach you how to read at-home functional medicine lab tests, the ones that we do, the ones that we offer are at equilibriumnutrition.com, so that you'll be able to help people with those as well. Not from a medical diagnostic standpoint, from a health coaching standpoint, which is all you need to be able to do in order to help people heal. And it's an amazing career for anyone that's interested. So that's that. It's at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. We open Monday. We open for exactly 100 people. When all 100 openings are gone, we close those doors. Usually all of these spots are gone anywhere between 1 and 3 days. It's typically, if we open on a Monday, it's typically closed usually by Thursday. So check that out. It's an amazing community, private Facebook group. We do a monthly live Q&A where I get on with everyone. Again, a lot of fun, and hopefully you'll join us this coming Monday. Check it out on Instagram as well. My account's just Stephen Cabral, and the IHP account is IHP_certification. All right, let's move on. The next one I want to share with you is this. We have, at least through today, the summer collection special at equilibriumnutrition.com. Team put this together. I thought it was a great idea. When you go over there, you'll actually see about a dozen products that are all buy 2, get 1 free. And there's the summer essentials, we're calling them. They're all things that are going to help you have your best summer, whether it be from metabolism, as anti-inflammatory, all of the detox-based things that you may need in order to maybe enjoy a couple barbecues, right? A couple extra cocktails. So check that out. I'm not going to say too much about it because it's an amazing offer that literally ends potentially today, if not by this weekend. And again, these are evergreen podcasts. So if you're listening to this, try to tune in, try to go to equilibriumnutrition.com. There's always new things happening over there. And if you see that banner live still, you'll be able to click on it and it will take you right to the summer collections page. Buy 2, get 1 free, which means that you're saving quite a bit of money, right? That's quite a savings, about 33% if my math's correct on that. So check that out. You'll see the balanced zinc and you'll see all sorts of great items over there. Magnesium, etc. All right. So that is that. And the last one I want to bring you is this. Starting Sunday, okay, so it won't happen until Sunday, but we are offering $100 off the omega-3 lab test. In my opinion, it is still one of the most, if not the most, underrated lab out there. Probably the most underrated lab in the world, honestly, is the hair tissue mineral analysis. It really is, because it shows you so much that's going on in the body. It really does. But the one that just tells you, are you inflamed or not, is the omega-3 test. And for anyone over the age of 35, it's a must-do. I mean, people under the age of 35 should also do it. We have children doing it in terms of ADD, ADHD. We have it for headaches. We have it for kids with learning disabilities, for bedwetting, especially when they're older, of course. We have it for allergies and asthma. I mean, it's an amazing test. But why over the age of 35? Well, because your arteries are already starting to harden. A lot of people think because they have low cholesterol, normal cholesterol, they're scot-free, right? I don't even know what that term means. But anyway, they're free of having cardiovascular disease. Not true. Only 50% of people with high cholesterol have a heart attack. Or out of all the people that have a heart attack, only 50% have high cholesterol. The other 50% don't have high cholesterol. So what is it? Well, it's hardening of the arteries, okay, or inflammation of the arteries, where the arteries are being constricted and squeezed, where blood can't flow properly, especially under stress. So if we do the omega-3 test, we actually see, are you inflamed or not from an omega-6 to omega-3 standpoint? One of the best labs in the world, super underrated. Some doctors will run it, most won't. They just don't do it. So, of course, what we try to do is just allow you to take back control of your health, and simply put, do you need omega-3s or not? Then you can listen to my podcast on what are the highest omega-3 fish. Or you can add in omega-3 supplementation, but only use the triglyceride-bound form. Remember, not all nutritional supplements are created equal. Some are really poor quality. If someone's selling fish oil for like $19, I'm guaranteeing you that it's a bogus, cheap product. It's not worth putting in your body. It's oxidized polyunsaturated fats. You don't want that. What you want are non-oxidized omega-3s that you can get from good quality, either marine algae or fish oil, etc. So really important to look at that and really just, again, lab test. It tells you what you need to do. So we're running this for Father's Day, and that's because out of all cardiovascular risk factors, men are the most at risk. I just believe it's the test to run. I just ran mine again, and I'm always making tweaks, right? I'm always looking at, okay, I've had this much fish in my diet for the last 90 days. Should I increase that or not? Should I increase my supplementation or not? Am I good? Again, you just tweak it, refine it, and then you can say, hey, I'm optimizing my levels. That's what it's all about. So this Sunday, look for the email. If you haven't signed up for the emails yet, simply go to equilibriumnutrition.com. There'll be a little pop-up that you can enter your name. You get 10% off your first order at Equilibrium Nutrition, and then you'll get these special promotions that pretty much no one else gets. All right, so that will be in celebration of Father's Day. You could do a gift certificate, or you could just save $100 and obviously get that lab. All right, up next, let's get into my tick bite and first spider bite ever, unfortunately, all in the same weekend, one day apart from each other. So never been bitten by a spider before. I go to Maine quite a bit from, let's say, May through October. And there are a lot of spiders, and sometimes they're in the house. That's the way that it works, right? We've got a lot of trees around us. And that's part of why I love it, because I want to be in nature. I can actually feel a change in my energy. I really can. And I believe that as you become more self-aware, you will start to feel your shifts around negative people or around different environments. And when I get to Maine, it's like all kind of like the stress and all of that starts to dissipate, even if I'm just there for Saturday and Sunday. It makes a huge difference in my life. It's probably one of my, favorite things to do. I have my family there. It's quiet. It's peaceful. Nothing extravagant. Just a relaxed place to hang out. That's really what it is. And we're probably a 5-minute walk to this quiet beach that maybe 2 other families are on. It's amazing. Really, really amazing. So anyway, what happened was this. I had a bunch of family up. I had, again, just a bunch of family, cousins, all that. Really great time. We love having family up there, friends. And I don't know when it happened, but we did a fire pit, just an outdoor campfire that night. Really fun. All the kids were there. And what happened was the next morning, and I had sweatpants on, I had socks on. It gets cool at night. The next morning, when I was taking a shower, I saw something on my shin. And I'm like, oh, what is that? I thought I cut myself because it looked like a scab. And it was actually an embedded tick. Now, I've worked with hundreds of people with Lyme disease. So when I saw that, I got nervous. I really did. And honestly, I'm like, oh, I have a tick. And the first thing in my mind right away clicked because, again, I'm seeing so many people with this, was Lyme disease. And now I said, oh, this is unbelievable. It's a holiday weekend. It's still cold out. It's Maine, pretty much as north as you can get in the United States. And I don't have access to any of my supplements. I just don't have them here. And I know what to do if I'm bit or I get any type of bacteria in my body or virus in my body, but I didn't have anything. And so I was worried. And what I did next was simply what I believe everyone should do if they're ever in that situation. It's better to be prepared. So, of course, now I'm going to be prepared. But I wasn't at that moment. I have a lot of nutritional supplements in Maine, a lot. But I didn't have anything for that. And I'll tell you why. So I'm going to take a little aside here for a second. I always, during the summer and fall, put geranium oil on my dog, my French bulldog, as well as my 2 daughters, myself. My wife uses it as well. So we use a geranium essential oil. And geranium essential oil is amazing as a natural tick and flea repellent. So it works great for dogs as well without having to put any poison, on your dog's skin. So before my dog goes out, I put it on the back of his neck and I put it right above his tail. And he stays tick-free. And he has since we've done that. Now, he used to get ticks every year before last summer when I started doing this, okay? Because I didn't want to spray him down every time. Should I have? Maybe, but, he hates all of the sprays on him. So put that on and it works great. I talked about that last year on a podcast, but I'm going to link up the geranium oil. Why don't I link up the previous podcast it was on as well? But the other great thing, and I do this whenever there's mosquitoes around too, is there's a great product called Herbal Armor. I've talked about it for years now. I used it, I don't even know how long ago. I was using this 10 years ago when I was first starting my trips over to India and other places where there's malaria and there's all sorts of disease carried by mosquitoes. So Herbal Armor is for sure our go-to. But another one we found last summer that we started using as well is called Nantucket Spider. And it's basically the same for mosquitoes and tick, but they have one for each. And that's a really nice product as well. So these are natural, DEET-free based insect repellents. I can't recommend enough not to use DEET-based sprays, like an off spray or one of those. It's not that they don't work. They do. But you're literally poisoning yourself with things that we know cause cancer. Will it cause cancer the next day? No. Will you ever get cancer from it? Maybe, maybe not. But it will fill up your rain barrel. So use the natural products. They do work. They're tested 99+% effective. And they know this because they do it inside of a jar. They put the DEET spray on, the natural spray, the Herbal Armor spray on something. That's why Herbal Armor is proven to work. And I have no affiliation with them. And the mosquitoes stay away for 3+ hours. And then as it starts to wear off, well, the mosquitoes then start to go on. So it's amazing product. Anyway, check it out. So what I'm going to do is this though. And then the spider bite, I don't know when I got it. I honestly have no idea. I could have got it when I was sleeping, right on my right bicep. And it was unbelievable. And it blew up and it had all the hallmarks of a spider bite. Can I guarantee that it was? No. It wasn't a mosquito bite, but could it have been something else? Could it have been another tick bite? It's possible, right? It is possible. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share what to do that I recommend. Again, you can absolutely go the pharmaceutical route if you feel that's the best for you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to try to give you options as to what you can do. So what I do is I will never use antibiotics again in my life unless it's a life-saving condition. I'm just not going to because I know what it did to my body and I know what it does to other people's body. And I'm not willing to do that unless it's a life-saving condition. And that goes for everyone that I have any type of influence over. Again, like my kids, my wife, it's just not going to happen unless it's needed. And then, yes, of course, we would use antibiotics for life-saving based conditions. So I'm going to give you my what if you're based tick protocol. It's not the same exact protocol as if you have Lyme disease, but it absolutely does help with that. So first, I'll do my Lyme disease based protocol. It's more intricate, and I'll talk about that in the future. But what I will give you is what I do when I'm bit by a tick and how I was able to run out to a local health food store. It was 40 minutes away, but to a health food store that had a lot of the products that I needed. And I was able to grab those before getting a couple other products back in Boston when I got home 2 days later. All right, so Herbal Armor Spray, Nantucket Spider, excellent. Geranium Essential Oil, all excellent. I'll link up the previous podcasts on those, and I want to make sure I link up the links directly to purchase those, whether it be through your local. It's always nice to get it through your local health food store. It really is. Support your local health food stores. They're amazing. They're, usually like, as they say, mom and pop type shops. The one I go to in Maine, I don't need to buy anything else. I have access to all the nutritional supplements I want. I have access to, doctor-only products. But I go there every weekend, typically when I'm in Maine, just to support them. Really, like we want those places to survive. We really do. I'm a big believer in that. I don't think that Amazon should rule the world. Amazon is amazing. Don't get me wrong. But it's nice to have some of these retail spots. You go in, talk with the people there. It's like it was 40 years ago when they were first coming out. They're amazing. So anyway, let me move on. I want to bring you a research study that really had me shaking my head. And I do get angry and I get upset at these things because people don't know about them. And even their doctors don't know about them. But pharmaceutical companies do. And, again, that's why I'm not blaming medical doctors. I'm not. But I do think that at some point, we need to stop. We're always like, oh, let's regulate the natural health industry. Let's regulate supplements. Let's do this. Let's do that. They don't cause deaths. They don't. And if there are any, it's 1 or 2 in hundreds of millions of people compared to pharmaceuticals or even just Advil or Tylenol. These are over-the-counter things. What are we doing? Like, why are we even talking about should we regulate CBD? Or should we regulate, fish oil? Come on. We need to be looking at things that we already know and have been proven over and over hurt people and harm people. And the latest one is that people with acid reflux that are on an acid reflux-based drug, or even if you don't have acid reflux, you could be on it for different reasons, that are taking proton pump inhibitors or other type of acid blockers, those drugs have now been significantly linked to stomach cancer. We already knew they were linked to Barrett's esophageal-based cancer, linked to fatal heart disease and kidney disease. This to me is criminal. I just don't understand it. I really don't understand this. How this is just able to be gotten away with. The study was done, I believe, at Washington University. I'm going to link up the direct study for you. And I'll put that. I'm going to put all of the links today. I don't want you to go searching for any of them. So every link today is going to be at stephencabral.com/1218. stephencabral.com/1218. And I'm going to make sure I link up this study as well because, this is definitive research that you can send to someone that's on a proton pump inhibitor. You can share it on social media. And this, right here, again, reputable journal. This isn't just any journal out there. This study was published in the British Medical Journal, and it was completed out of the Washington University School of Medicine. And the lead on this was Dr. Zayed Al-Ali. And he was leading that out of, again, the Washington University School of Medicine. I will publish the British Medical Journal link right here, British Medical Journal, and you'll be able to read that. But let me just give you a quick summary on it. So basically what they did is they did a long follow-up study of people on proton pump inhibitors. The typical ones would be like a Nexium or a Prilosec or a Prevacid, one of those. And what they found was that there was an excess. Listen to this. There was an excess. This means these people did not need to die. An excess of 45.2 deaths for every 1,000 individuals taking proton pump inhibitors. But here's where it gets really crazy. You might say, 45 people, that's a lot out of 1,000. True, right? It's a lot out of 1,000. But listen to this, though. When you look at the amount of people taking proton pump inhibitors, it skyrockets. It's estimated that more than 15 million people take them in just the United States alone. But here's the thing. That number is so low. We have over 340 million people in the United States. I'll tell you right now, it is far greater than 15 million. But let's even say it's 15 million people. If it's 15 million people, you're looking at over 500,000 people, 675,000 to be exact, died unnecessarily because of taking this medication. And to me, again, that is someone's husband, father, partner, friend, coworker that did not need to die. And that's how I look at it. And again, I get upset about these things because it says on the packaging, well, it actually says on the insert, it should say in bright letters on the packaging, this product should not be used for longer than 14 days. That's what it says in that little tiny insert with the 5-point font that nobody can read. But yet, not only is it continued to be used, but also it's prescribed by GI doctors for longer than 2 weeks. And we know that that is not a good thing to do. So I'm hoping that more and more doctors will use less and less of these products. And they will look for alternative measures. And again, I know it's not easy, and it's not easy for doctors either, because people don't always want to change their nutrition. I can't tell you, my family alone, it's just like I can look outside of like my scope of people that are there. And they're like, but I get heartburn when I drink coffee. I get heartburn when I eat dairy. Or I get heartburn when, I eat some of the foods that I like muffins or other items. And I just say, well, but if you didn't eat those foods, you wouldn't have the heartburn. You can see the direct connection. Now, it's not always that. I mean, people have H. pylori that should be tested for, levels of stress, inflammation, and there are food sensitivities. But once you see that you have them, and you say, I can't have my morning coffee with my milk in it that I like. Well, could you substitute that for something else so that you wouldn't have heartburn, so that you wouldn't have to take this medication, so that you might not die a decade early or have to go through cancer? And again, I know I'm ranting, but this is my wish for people. It really is that all this can be figured out. Nobody should have to live with this level of heartburn. And it's not just that. When you're taking these proton pump inhibitors, what happens is you don't digest your food and your protein as well. So now you have fermented food in your gut, which can lead to small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, poor mood, excess weight gain, inflammation, etc. So it's not just about the end result. It's everything that happens throughout the stage of being on pharmaceuticals. And again, if you're saying, well, I don't take those, but here's the thing. If you take statins, if you take blood pressure medication, if you're on other types of drugs, they're going to have similar outcomes. They really are. We have to get to the point where we understand that if you're using a pharmaceutical, it's masking an underlying condition. I know that it helps with the symptoms. I understand that. You take Prilosec. I took Prilosec. A lot of people don't know that. 17, 18 years old, I had heartburn. I had acid reflux. They had me on that, a cocktail of medication. I was on that too. But here's the thing. They work, but they don't work. They work to suppress the symptoms. Okay, so you don't have heartburn anymore. But they don't work because it leads to something else, because you never fixed the underlying root cause of what caused the heartburn. And again, uninformed people simply say, well, it's just everyone in my family has that. Yes, everyone in your family has the same genetic predisposition, but they're also in the incorrect environment which allows for that expression. And that's what we call epigenetics. You have to get yourself into a different environment, rebalance the body, and then you won't have that. No one in your family will have it. It's just there. It's in the background. You could have it, but you don't need to have it. All right. Check that out. Try to spread the word. We don't need people on these types of pharmaceuticals. All right. And the last one I want to share with you today, and I know I'm already at my time with you, but here's the thing. I want to share with you a stat that not a lot of people know about, and it has to do with something that's being studied now, and it's called highly unsaturated fatty acids. Now, highly unsaturated fatty acids are something that we've found in both sides of the spectrum. Those with higher levels of omega-3s and those with higher levels of omega-6s. Because remember, unsaturated fatty acids are coming from non-saturated fats, right? So they can come from, it could come from oxidized canola oil, which would be a lot of omega-6s, or it could come from unoxidized, non-oxidized, again, something like, let's just say fish, right? Let's just say it's the sardines and it's the mackerel, anchovies, those types of things. So again, there are other sources. You could look at flax and you could look at walnuts. It's just not as high, right, as the omega-3 fish. So what we found is that those people towards, let's say, Japan and Greenland and more of like the island-based living, Mediterranean-based diet, they have a lot of highly unsaturated fatty acids in terms of omega-3s. And we found those that are more towards the United States and the Western-based style of eating, which is kind of spreading all over the world. I got to see that firsthand when I was in China, like the first generation of people eating this type of food and actually how it was causing weight gain. I didn't see any adults where I was in old Beijing at a traditional Chinese medicine hospital that were overweight. That's not an exaggeration. Not an exaggeration. But I did see plenty of kids under the age of 16 who were overweight. And that's too bad. Right? I mean, it really is. So we can see it spreading. Well, here's the interesting thing. They said, okay, well, why do we have so much more longevity? Well, the omega-3s is one of those things. And here's why. It found that highly unsaturated fatty acids, in terms of higher omega-3s, displaced the higher omega-6s, which allowed for a different pathway for something called eicosanoids and prostaglandins. A lot of people don't know this, but when you take in a lot of omega-6s, you're getting a higher level of arachidonic acid. And that can cause inflammatory prostaglandins, which can affect your heart, your arteries, carotid artery going up your neck, so it can affect things like stroke. But that's one part of it, okay? If you're taking in enough omega-3s, whether it be, it's mainly from your EPA can combat, block, and displace those arachidonic acid molecules. It's pretty amazing. It's one of the reasons why our omega-3 support, whether it's the liquid or the capsules at Equilibrium Nutrition, is actually a 2-to-1 ratio of EPA to DHA. And we found that to be the biggest needle mover. Now remember, 10, 12 years ago, I was using higher DHA than EPA. And it's great too. It's a nice anti-inflammatory. But the EPA at a 2-to-1 works so much better in clinical setting, like in looking at labs. It just works. So again, you can always use any product in the world that you believe is the best fit for you. I'm okay with that. Make sure it's a functional medicine brand. I mean, that's one thing. Make sure it's third-party tested. Make sure the omega-3s are triglyceride bound. That's the only way you're really going to be able to absorb them well. And, the other thing is this. Just look for that higher omega-3, that higher, I should say, EPA to DHA. It's not that you don't want DHA. You do. But you want more of that EPA. And that's why the vegan omega-3s, we're working on formulating one right now. It's just more challenging because you're never really going to have more EPA than DHA because you're going to have more DHA from things like marine algae. It's not a bad thing. It's not bad. It doesn't mean that it's not good. You just want to make sure, especially if you're on a vegan-based diet and you're not eating any omega-3-based fish, that you are staying away from a lot of the oxidized omega-6s and a lot of the oxidized saturated fats as well. And not just oxidized, from saturated fats from especially, your conventional-based meats, which is not healthy for you. It's not. I mean, if the food you're eating is eating corn and soy and it's eating wheat, all of these things that they shouldn't be eating, then you don't want to be putting that in your body either. So anyway, you can run this an omega-3 test. It's just part of the omega-3 profile and actually maps where you are in the world, whether you're closer to the US or French Canadians or Mediterranean or more near like Japan and Greenland. So those are great things that you're able to do to see how optimized you are. We will link up the omega-3 test at stephencabral.com/1218. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. I appreciate your listens, your supports, your shares. I hope you have a great weekend. And again, tune back in tomorrow. Every weekend, we have our Cabral House Calls where we're answering our community's questions. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Talk with you soon. Thank you so much for just tuning into the show. And before you leave, I want to share with you what is going on right now for the next couple of days over at equilibriumnutrition.com. We are offering an amazing buy two, get one free on all of our summer essentials. So these are products that my team and I thought would be perfect for you to be able to use during the summer, maximize your summer fun, energy, metabolism, and save some money at the same time. So basically, by buying two and getting one free, you're saving at least a third. So right now, over at equilibriumnutrition.com, you will see a banner. You can click on that banner while the offer is valid. It will take you to a collections page, and that page will show you can buy two, get one free on our activated B complex, on our daily digestive enzyme, on our alkalizing vitamin C, on our full spectrum vitamin C, on our clean gut probiotic, on our balanced zinc, on our gluten and dairy support enzyme, on our sinus support, on our estrogen balance, on our daily fruit and vegetable blend capsules, and our pure DHEA. So really great product offering right now, and it's going to be valid through the weekend, I believe. So, or while, of course, supplies last. If any of the items I just mentioned aren't on the page anymore, it is because they are sold out of this initial offering. All right, to everyone, check it out over at equilibriumnutrition.com. Click on the summer and travel essentials and stock up for summer. Take care. Talk with you soon. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stephencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.